Well, is there a grudge you've been carrying around forever and you just can't let it go? Today's guest says you would be doing yourself a big favor if you could just forgive. Dr. Tian Dayton is the author of 12 books, including the groundbreaking book, The Magic of Forgiveness. Hi, Dr. Dayton. Welcome to your morning.
Hi, Cindy.
I just want to talk about, first of all, the introduction, because it really hits home to all of us. Few of us on our deathbed say, I wish I'd held on to a little more resentment, taken a bit longer to let go of the pain, or nursed a grudge more fervently. Relationships are what we remember. Did I love, and was I loved? Did I let go of hate in time to enjoy the pleasure that could have been mine? Yeah, I think that hits home for all of us. You don't hear that on anybody's deathbed. Gee, I wish I'd held that grudge a little bit longer. Let's talk about the myths that surround forgiveness. First of all, if you're really mad at the person that you love, for instance, and they've done something really horrible, is it a myth that if you forgive, that the relationship is going to actually improve?
Depends on the nature of forgiveness. If it's an ongoing relationship, if it's one, say, a long-term marriage or a relationship with a child, chances are, if you've become what I would like to think of as a good forgiver, and you've taught the person with you or learned from the person how to forgive together, the relationship will improve. Because any relationship that's harboring unspoken resentments, we know, is undermining the joy in the relationship and undermining the connection. If it's an old relationship or one you're not in touch with, it will not necessarily improve. But that's okay, because you want to free yourself.
Do you necessarily have to verbalize that forgiveness? Or can you just say it internally? I forgive them. Okay, I'll move on.
I think it's best to verbalize it, but not necessarily to the person you're forgiving. That relationship may or may not tolerate it. If you go up to somebody and say, you know, guess what, I forgive you, you're setting yourself up for a variety of responses.
For what? I didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. So get the support, talk about it, but talk about it with friends, with safe people, with professionals.
Now, there's another myth surrounding forgiveness, that you won't feel angry anymore if you forgive.
You do feel angry. That's part of the block of forgiveness. That's the biggest block, anger and resentment. Now, when we forgive, we do it in stages. So you may work through part of the anger and really get to a plateau of forgiveness, and then a new part of the anger comes up, and you have to deal with that. And you won't necessarily eradicate the anger, but it should reduce over time.
I forego my right to hurt feelings if I forgive.
You still get to be hurt. It hurt what happened, and you still get to know that. We don't have amnesia because we've forgiven. What we want is to lighten the load of hurt feelings, and processing these feelings is the big key to forgiveness. Process, 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 and that lightens feelings.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you want to continue a relationship, does it, if you decide you're going to forgive?
Not at all. It may be in your best interest to not continue a relationship.
Okay. It doesn't mean you condone what happened.
No, you don't condone it. If somebody caused you great injury and they did something really wrong, many of us feel if I forgive, it's tantamount to condoning, to saying it was okay, it didn't matter. And that blocks our ability to forgive, because we don't want to appear to be saying it was okay. Forgiving is taking the high road on your own behalf.
Do you think it's easier for women to find it in their hearts to forgive?
I do, oftentimes, because women are wired for relationship. Nature gave us that. We are wired for connection. We value connection. If you ask a woman how she is, it is not odd or necessarily codependent if she says, I'm fine, and tells you about how her kids are, how her spouse is. We think in relational terms. So that makes us inclined to want to maintain the relationship. I think the downside of this is to forgive too soon and to forgive too frequently and negate the feelings we have in ourselves. But equally bad is to hang on to a grudge forever. So we want to find that middle ground.
Can it benefit children to teach them how to forgive?
So much. And the best way to teach a child how to forgive is to ask for their forgiveness. I have 2 grown children, and as they were growing up, if I thought I made a mistake, the first thing I did was to ask for their forgiveness. And I've been very gratified to see as adults they're willing to do the same thing.
I think worst case scenario, whereas somebody has hurt somebody that I love terribly, or say somebody killed somebody I loved, and I wonder how do you ever reach down and find a way to forgive? Is it possible?
You know, I have not been confronted with that, and I am filled with admiration and awe of people who can do that. And the only thing I can think of that is that it is how that they can go on in their lives and they can continue to find joy in the world, because otherwise you'd really want to just check out.
It would eat you alive, wouldn't it?
It would eat you alive. You would want to leave this world.
Now, in parts of your book, you actually encourage people to write in the book.
Yes.
There are places where you want people to write out letters of how they're feeling and letters of forgiveness. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take this letter out of here and then give it to that person.
No, you absolutely don't want to send it. But you're quite right. The letter is to relieve yourself of the feelings, and it is the most effective tool. You'll be surprised if your viewers now have an issue that is grinding away at their insides. They take out a pencil and paper, dear so-and-so, and write down everything. Edit nothing. Write it all out. Get it all out on the paper. Sign your name. And you will learn a lot about yourself and the feelings you're carrying. Don't send it, but it's for us.
And finally, you've got also a feedback sheet in there. It's the Reader's Customer Care Survey. Tell us about that.
Well, I've developed some self-tests for forgiveness at every stage in the game. And that is designed as a sort of a self-assessment. Where are you blocked in your forgiveness process? What is it that's keeping you from being able to move on or keeping your own peace away from you?
I think it's probably a lot less scary now that people know they can do the act of forgiveness without actually having to confront the person that they have to forgive.
I think you're very right, Sandy.
Whew. All right.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better about this already.
Yeah.
For more on forgiveness and the ways in which you can help you, check out Dr. Dayton's book, The Magic of Forgiveness. Thanks for coming in, Dr. Dayton.
Thank you for having me.